Hello. Hello, beautiful people. It's Sylvia from Horizon Mental Health Clinic. I'm a psychotherapist and author. So today we will be talking about one of the topics that you have requested me to talk about, and that is loneliness. I will compare loneliness to feeling alone. That's a completely different concept, and I want you to understand the distinction. Oh my god, I can't say it. The distinction. I want you to distinguish. Keep it simple. Distinguish the two concepts from each other. Because they're quite different and they can affect you completely differently. One is absolutely negative, and the other one, to your surprise, can be very positive. So we'll talk about that. I will distinguish the two. Also, I will go with the topic of loneliness. I can't miss the concept also of chronic loneliness, and I will cover that today as well, because I can't talk about one thing and dismissing the other thing, because as I said before, that wouldn't be fair on the people who actually requesting me to talk about those topics. Because when I do something, I do it to 100%, and I'm going to give you 100% of me, and I will answer your question to my best ability. So please stay with me, and also you will also know that this topic that you have chosen, I will talk about today, because I have texted you today to let you know that today I will be talking about this, and your topic will be covered. So you exactly know, there's no doubt of you feeling anyhow dismissed by me. And those who are, or those who were texting me privately or on my Facebook page also, with the topics, I did not not see it, or I did not dismiss you. It's just I'm choosing the topics that I haven't really talked about yet as such, and that doesn't mean your topic won't be touched. I will promise you that yes, I will come back to your topic as well. So be patient with me, because to my surprise, I'm getting loads of nice messages, and yes, with your requests about, oh Sylvia, can you cover this, and can you give me more understanding about this? So it's so nice to have your feedback, but as I said, I will do my best to cover everything. So today, as I said, today we will be covering loneliness. And I have my notes, and some of you who might know me knows that I don't usually have my notes with me. So if I will be looking away, I'm looking at my notes, just because I do treat those topics very seriously, and I do treat yourself and your requests seriously. So I can't, it's just not like I'm just talking for the sake of talking. I really do want to help you. So, okay, so one thing that we really need to remember about loneliness is that it can affect everyone. There's no such a thing as that one person or specific people will be affected by loneliness. It's not really the case. It can affect anyone. So let's not box people or make them feel less when we feel about someone is lonely. There's different aspects of life that can make us feel lonely, and it's different life events, different people, different, even ourselves, our emotions. So it combines a lot of things, but I will go back to it later as I will unfold the topic. Another thing is that being connected or feeling connected with somebody else is our biological need. It's something that we will never get rid of, and it's something that we will have it all the time. Whether you like it or not, it's in our DNA, it's our biology written that we need human connection. So if you're telling me, no, I don't need it, I have the urge to challenge that. Okay, so just to have that in mind, that it's something that we all need connection. And even if you would go back as far, you know, like 1,000 years ago or even more, really, like, if, you know, if someone was lonely, for them it meant death. And if someone, you know, if someone was in the groups and there was no connection, it meant survival. And with that, nothing really changed. You know, not huge, massive things has changed when it comes to that exactly need of being connected, the feeling of being needing to connect with somebody else and feeling the connection with somebody else. So just to have that in mind, that it's in us, we're built this way, we are built this way. But if you are feeling lonely and if you don't connect, it will affect your physical health as much as it will affect your mental health. But now I think it's good for me to actually explain that feeling or being lonely is a completely different thing from being alone. Because feeling lonely, it's like you don't really have much control over it. You believe it's something that happened to you, you believe that people not really liking you, or you not really feel like that connection to somebody else. Whether with being alone, it means maybe you actually need some time to connect with yourself, to connect with who you are, and you choosing consciously to spend some time by yourself, only with yourself, with nobody else, and to connect with who you are, with yourself, and that is by choice. So that doesn't really put you down. It actually goes the opposite way, where you feel like, you know, that reconnection with yourself, which is very good, very healthy feeling of me, of coming back to you as whole, and you know, that's a really good feeling. So let's say sometimes actually a part of self-care, you know, can be spending time by yourself, alone, with nobody else, and just reconnect with who you are, reconnect with your soul. And that is completely opposite to feeling alone, not alone, feeling lonely. Because feeling lonely is that you can be with loads of people around you, you can have loads of people in the same building, the same room as you are, and yet there's no connection. You don't feel anyhow, there's nothing you can take from it. Like, it doesn't fulfill you, it doesn't make you feel any better. It's like there's a huge disconnection almost. You know, so let's say you're with your people around you, and then they will chat, and you feel like you're outside there. Like you feel like they're all there, connecting, chatting, having fun, and it's like you're not here. So that this connection makes you feel really maybe bad about yourself. Okay, so there we have the distinction between loneliness and feeling alone. Then also, what I have put on my notes is that loneliness can cause you feel excluded. I think I did mention that. Feeling rejected. But also, when you feed into this loneliness, it's affecting your social skills. So it's like, because of, you know, you feel excluded, you feel rejected, you feel like you need to protect yourself, and you are creating the barrier between you and somebody else. So that can really affect your social skills, how you interact with people, how do you see people, how you perceive, you know, conversations, or how you perceive interconnections with other people. So all of that is actually under one umbrella of feeling alone. I think in here I will allow myself to actually give you my own example of when I felt very, very lonely, excluded, rejected. My social skills were like to zero. Like I felt really bad, and that was probably not one of the worst, but it was probably one of the most difficult time of my life, when when I really felt lonely, and I didn't even know how to connect and with other people. So that was when, that was a few years back, when I moved to Ireland with my family. At the time I was only 14. And, you know, as a teenager, common teenager, you know, social interactions, friends, you know, peers, colleagues, everything, that interactions are very important, you know, like even to build, somehow a sense of identity. And when I came to Ireland, I didn't speak English at all. You know, there was no way I did understand anyone talking to me, and I couldn't speak either. So I felt very, very excluded. I felt very much not in the place. I felt like I didn't belong here. I felt like that was just a very terrible situation, very terrible place to be, you know, for anyone, I guess. But I just didn't want to be here, you know. And when that was my dad's decision, like, you know, we will be moving, and we did. I was excited, but it didn't occur to me that in Ireland people will speak English, you know. I didn't even think about that, you know. I was just happy to see my dad. I was happy to finally, you know, have my family together, and then yet that didn't even kind of crossed my mind, like, but how will you interact with the other people? And then yet you will be starting school in there. Like, how are you going to communicate with all those people? How are you going to actually learn something, you know? I didn't think. I was just happy to see my dad. And then one day we went outside with my brother. There was different kids around the estate, and we're like, hi! And then like hitting the wall. And then I realized, oh, holy shit, I didn't actually think of a bigger picture. And I ran home. I'm like, close myself. I'm not going out. Like, oh my God. But then the school started, and, you know, during the summer, they were our neighbors, so somehow we did, you know, my dictionary was my, like, Bible at the time. I didn't even leave the house with the dictionary. But going to school, there was no time. There was no time that I could actually, you know, look for the word that I wanted to actually say, and then based on that one word, I was trying to say something. It was just a disaster. Like, it was just a one huge disaster to say something, to express myself, to introduce myself. I couldn't even say, hi, my name is Sylvia. Like, I was that bad with English. Like, there was no English with me in me whatsoever, and I didn't understand what they were saying at all. I could understand hi, you know, and my name. If someone said like Sylvia, I was like extra alert, like, who? Are they talking about me? And then even if they did, I still didn't understand what they were saying, you know. So that time, that was probably one of the most lonely time I had in my life. I felt so much out of place, so much. You know, we think when I said about social skills and social interactions, we think, you know, like, be open, be kind, be inviting, start conversation, but we don't even think about the basic, you know. We don't think of the language. We don't think of the culture. We don't think how to greet people. Like, if we would be in Asia, I would say there will be different greetings. Then, like, some people will, like, shake their hands, like, hello, and some people, like, don't, like, where you going with this hand, like, that's actually offensive. So it really depends on the culture, you know. So how we communicate with other people, it's also the way we need to kind of learn that is how we learn social skills. But to learn social skills, you kind of need to know the culture, you kind of need to know where you are, where you're standing. So if I'm talking about you, where your country is English speaking and there's no issue, like, that's already something for you to be like, oh, I have that, tick boxes, I'm on a good spot here, I'm actually doing good here. So it means I already have a little bit easier than some people. But, you know, talking again purely on my own example, that wasn't easy. You know, I never had any problems with communicating with people in Poland when there was, like, Polish language involved. I knew the culture, so that wasn't difficult. But then I really hit the reality when I went to school in here and like no English. There was no way I could somehow find communication, and people were like talking to me. I'm like, yeah, whatever, like, get me out of here. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here, you know. It was very, very difficult, and I think I have cried for like 2 weeks non-stop. I'm like, I want to go home. And my mom was like, that's not an option. Like, get over yourself. This is not what we're going to do. Like, that's not an option. So after 2 weeks of me really crying my eyes out, I had, okay, it's like, that's not an option. So what can I do here? And I had 2 choices. Give up completely and be feeling like I felt excluded, rejected, out of place, moaning about it, complaining, crying. That was my one choice, which I was doing, by the way, for the 2 weeks. And then my other choice was start learning English. Start learning those people's culture. Start being more, maybe, somehow involved. If you don't know something, get your dictionary out, say it as you can, write it down. Maybe the answer, you know, it will come about. Once you're willing to try, it will always come about. So after 2 weeks, I did decide I have no choice really. That's what I thought by the time. I was like, okay, I don't really have a choice. I don't want to feel like this. I want to feel I want to have friends. So, and I don't want to feel lonely. I don't want to be this lonely. Like, that's a different level of loneliness it was for me, you know. So I did. I really put my head down into the books, and I really did teach myself how to speak English. So the English I have today, I did it myself. I never had like a proper English teacher with me who would literally tell me how to properly speak. You know, we had like an English teacher then in school. Actually, the principal was very good. He actually got us teacher. But once he saw that I can do something and I'm willing to do, he like, you know what? You do your thing, you do your own thing, and then I will just go and help the other person. But I need help too. So anyway, it was what it was, and that slowly got me out. You know, that the first step was my willingness, my decision making, that I don't want to feel this lonely. I don't want to be so excluded, you know, from this society. I want to be in, but to be ordered, okay, for me to be in, I had to make the effort first. I had to show them that I want to be in, you know. For them to accept me, I had to be like, hello, hello. So they did, and you know, I think that with Irish culture, like, I can't really speak for any other, because that was it's purely my own experience from, you know, Irish culture. I think it's very welcoming, very tolerating, very accepting. And once I think, and it's out of only my own experience, once you're showing them that you're willing, oh my god, they're like, come on here, like, come on. They're very open, they're very welcoming, you know, like, it's very easy. Once you show them that you can, that you want to be part of, you know, of their culture, and get to know them, there's no issue whatsoever. Like, I never had any issues with, you know, once I showed them, like, look, I actually want to be in, like, please, you know, yeah, like, so, and that is what I'm trying to, and this is where it comes as the concept of you being responsible as well for how you feel and where you are in your life. So as a 14-year-old, I didn't have much choice. It wasn't my decision to come here. It was my parents' decision, my dad's mainly. But yet, it's still like, I did still have a choice whether I wanted to feel lonely and not be included, or actually that was not something I didn't want, and maybe I wanted to make some effort. So that was on my shoulders. So even though someone else at the time made that decision for me, I still took some control out of it. Like, okay, like I have two choices, what I'm going to do. Which one is going to work out better for me? And this is exactly what I did, you know? So you have the same, no matter what situation you're in, and whether you're feeling lonely and it's just the feeling of loneliness, or whether you're suffering from chronic loneliness, which I will get to it next, you still have a choice. You still have a choice, and you still are responsible for how you feel, your reality, and there's nothing, you can, you can. What I'm trying to say, that you can make steps, you can do something about it, you can help yourself. And that is your responsibility. It's not somebody else's responsibility to keep jumping for you, to survive, to help you, to make you feel like you want to be included. Whether if you don't want that, they won't chase you. That's not their responsibility, it's yours. So, don't be slipping back into the mode of I can't, or I'm excluded, people don't like me, people don't invite me, people don't see that I'm here, I'm invisible. Okay, if you are, I'm not saying you're not. I'm not saying that this is not how you feel. If you feel invisible, then it's your first step to take, to step out of that shadow, but making the decision that I want more. I want to be visible. I don't want to be lonely anymore. So what steps can you take? What steps can you take to make it happen? And it could be, let's say if you're working, so let's, come back from my own experience now. Let's now maybe you're an adult, you have a job, maybe you have very limiting circle of friends, and then what are you going to do about it? You might feel like you're not happy, maybe you find it hard to find to be in a relationship, like a romantic relationship. So what are you going to do? Rather than stepping back and I can't, nobody wants me, nobody this, nobody that. Okay, I understand, and that is your reality. I'm not questioning that, I'm not saying that this is not. But if it is, you take the responsibility, and what can you do about it? What is the first step that you can do to make it change? So it could be something like, I have, I'm sure you have a phone. So looking at the phone, like, okay, I have, I don't know how many, like, let's say 100 people on the phone with your contacts. How about if you contact them, or even Facebook? Facebook is fantastic to reconnect with your friends. And the minute you tell me now, I can't, I haven't been speaking to those people in 5 years time. Exactly. Isn't that a fantastic reason to contact them now? Because you haven't seen them in 5 years, and now you feel like, what? Now I'm making the decision that I do want to contact. I do want to reconnect. Or another thing it could be, you could go, if you're in the house all the time, you're not putting yourself, being visible. You don't put yourself out there. So maybe the next step would be going for a coffee by yourself. You don't need people as such to connect. You can feel connected by going to a cafe, get your favorite coffee, get your maybe book if you like, sit outside. Like, now it's the time of the year when the weather is really lovely. So sit outside, get some fresh air, feel it. Don't close yourself off. Don't pretend that you can't. You can. But it's your decision whether you're going to decide whether you can or you can't. This is up to you. That's something that you are in charge. So, having said that, again, if you're not, so let's say if you're lonely and you're not taking any steps, if you're not taking anything to improve yourself, and you have been feeling lonely for a really, really long time, that can lead to chronic loneliness. And I think that's where the bigger problem starts. That's where your mental health can be affected. That's where your self-esteem can be affected. That's when you're really closing off from people. That's when you're making yourself as a shield, like really just to protect yourself, like you jump into the worst case scenario. You don't trust people. You don't really see people or world as a safe place to be, to live. And this is exactly now where I want you to kind of be aware of. I'm not sure whether this is something where you are. If you are, I have good news at the very end of it, but let me now just first explain what the chronic illness is. So if that's not chronic illness, chronic loneliness. So if this is something that you suffer from, you will then at the end of this video will know exactly what steps to take to get yourself out of that. Okay? But first of all, first things first, let me just explain what chronic loneliness is. And I'm gonna go back to my notes because I don't want to make a mistake here. Okay, so chronic loneliness is one of the most unhealthy things for you in life, because as I said at the very beginning, you know, it's our biology the need to feel connected with other people. It's in our biology. We can't change it. It's something that in us that we want it. We're going always to want to drive for it. So if you have a chronic loneliness, why is it dangerous? Because number one, it weakens your immune system, makes cancer more deadlier, and you age quicker. Okay? Also, feeling lonely is twice as dangerous as obesity, and it's equally dangerous as if you would smoke one packet of fag a day, or a week, a day, a day. Wow. So knowing the effect on your physical body of chronic illness and of how you are when it comes to chronic illness, like the chronic, it actually can, you know, chronic loneliness can cause chronic illness. It's that serious. So this is why I, you know, when I got the request for talking about loneliness, I couldn't miss this part, because loneliness as such isn't just as simple as we can think as it is. You know, it goes deeper. It goes, really can affect us. So again, once loneliness becomes chronic, it can become like self-sustaining. And what does that can be dangerous. So what it means that when you feel that, you know, like when you have a chronic loneliness, that is the same in the brain. It will work the same as you would feel physical pain. So the chronic illnesses, oh my god, I keep calling it illness. I don't know why. So the chronic loneliness causes the same amount of, like, in the brain. It causes the same thing as a physical pain. So loneliness pain, emotional pain, and physical pain, it connects together in the brain, and that makes automatically defensiveness. Okay, it's the same definition. So if you have chronic loneliness, and if you would feel at the same time physical pain, that's the same, causes the same coping mechanism of defensiveness. It's like, no, shield down, shut down, not available. So how, you know, being in that state of mind, how can this then affect, why is it so serious? How does it then how the chronic loneliness can affect you? It can affect you on many, 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 many different layers. And one of that is you will see danger and hostility everywhere. okay? You want to trust people, you want them, you know, even if someone will smile, you'll be like, oh, I don't trust that. You know, that's what do they want now? Like, that's not, so it's like you would see people's reactions, intention, like you would see it, but yet there'll be no understanding on it. Like, if someone would smile, if you wouldn't have the chronic loneliness, you'd be like, oh, hi, if you would smile back, maybe you would start a conversation. With your chronic loneliness, that would, because your defensiveness would be up, you wouldn't be able to really clearly read what the other people's intentions are. You would see them as a danger. You would see them like, whew, no, I don't trust that, that's too much, there's hidden agenda, I'm not fitting into it. So it's like self-destructive behavior almost, you know, like the perception of people, it's like, this is not a safe place, get me out of here, and yet deep down this is exactly what you know, this is exactly what you want, and this is exactly what you need. That connection, that need of being with somebody, but then because there's so much like out of it, you don't trust. Another thing is that, okay, the interpreting the social signals, I did mention that. Yes, and then you will assume also that other people's intentions towards you are not healthy, they're not good, they're not, you know, you will really close yourself off, you will not be open, that, you know, and all of that will actually prevent you from being open, from being kind, from putting yourself out there. You will really feel like you know, you will be more cold, you will be more maybe rude, you know, it depends how far you would go with that chronic illness, but it's like something that you want, because you will have this shield, this defensiveness up all the time. It will not allow you to really reconnect with yourself and want, you know, look after yourself, what you really want. This is why it's so important that when you know this is what I'm talking about, you can resonate with it. It's important that you can get help, you know. First of all, try to help yourself, you know, knowing that. That's a really first step. That's the most important step. It's recognition. So recognize that this, you know, what I was talking about here, you could resonate with it. So if you can, then it's time to take steps to help yourself, to get yourself out of it. If for some reason you feel like it's too hard, you can't, then it's time to get professional help, psychotherapists, psychologists, you know, they will be able to help you. Through therapy, you will get out of yourself of that mode, because it's psychological. So, and you know, that defensiveness, it's all in your brain, it's psychology. So, you know, either a psychotherapist, counselor, they can help you put the defensiveness down, and you could really see again yourself, your own needs, and the world as a safe place again. And my steps in here, maybe before I go to the steps, I will also say what would be your, you know, the normal behaviors of chronic illness as well. So it would be like decline friends' invitations, not answering your phones when a friend calls you, not sitting even close to people. Like, you always would take the back seat, or you know, you would never want to be around other people. You would avoid it. Let's say if you'd go for a walk, you wouldn't take the proper walk, the walk that you would usually do. You will just try to go maybe some back roads just to avoid seeing people, just to avoid, maybe when you would go to shopping, you know, for shopping, you wouldn't really shop around the time when there would be like the most busy time. You would maybe choose maybe more evening or very early morning time. So you would really try to avoid people. You would feel like socially awkward if you would be in a social situation that you would feel very awkward, that as well could lead to chronic loneliness. So just to pay attention to where you are in your life, just to pay attention to where and how you feel about being around other people, how do you feel about yourself, take responsibility for how you feel. It's a really, really important step for you to get better, whether you are lonely or you're suffering from chronic illness. Not chronic illness, chronic loneliness. Oh my god, I keep saying illness. So the steps. Now the 5 steps I have put down is that recognition. So know the issue, you know yourself, you know where you are in your life. Then get rid of the feeling of shame, okay? A shame of being lonely, shame of admitting that, you know what, I actually need help here. You know what, maybe what I was doing, maybe it wasn't the right thing for me, maybe it wasn't exactly what I needed. Yes, I did it to protect myself, but do I really need this protection? There's nothing to be shamed about. Like, it's life, it's different experience, different emotions, different situations. As I said, it can hit everyone, okay? Then my favorite one, the third one, is to challenge yourself a little bit. So when you have those negative things of the world isn't safe, I'm not safe, people don't like me, people don't see me, challenge yourself of how much that actually is true, how much is that, like when you say the world is dangerous, like, go outside, like, even through the window, like, go look in the window, like, there are people walking, there's trees, now again, time of the year, like, the sun shines and it's good weather. If you just go for like 10 meters, would that be a really dangerous thing for you to do, So challenge yourself. If you say there's absolutely no one that likes you, again, challenge yourself. Is there really no one, or can you find at least one person that you think, I think they kinda like me a little bit, or there can be someone that I can feel connected with. If there's really not one, get your therapist and start from there. Like, get connecting with your therapist. She or he can help you to build that relationship, to start somewhere. Again, challenge yourself a little bit, when you okay, so another thing is, like, don't assume the worst case scenario is always going to happen, okay? So what I mean by that is, like, ask yourself again, like, are you willing to take the risk of being open yourself, like to open up yourself to somebody else? Can you take the risk of being vulnerable with somebody else? If not, why not? You can journal about it. You can, ask yourself, what is it that will stop you from being open, from taking that risk of being vulnerable with somebody else? And I'm not saying that in the first hour of seeing somebody you're going to tell them the full story, if they're not your therapist. That's a very different relationship, but if you're meeting someone for a coffee, of course you're not going to tell them, like, what happened to you the last 5 years, but give them something that will challenge you a little bit, something that you can feel like, okay, I you know what, I will actually open myself here a little bit, but enough to go out of my comfort zone, but yet for me to feel safe enough, so just try to kind of find the balance. Pay attention to yourself. I always say it to everyone I'm working with, I'm not working with, I always say, pay attention to what are your needs, what you want, where are you in right now, what are your desires, where are you heading, what are you feeling, and why. Try to find, connect with yourself, pay attention to yourself. That can really help you get yourself out of the comfort zone, and when it's only loneliness, we tend to kind of close down because we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. And that's how, sharing my own experience today with you about my own feeling of being, when I felt very, very lonely. That's what I did. I felt myself, I was like closing down. It's like, I don't want to be here. I don't know, get me out of here. I don't, I want to be safe again. And yet, as my mother said, that was not an option. So don't feel like there's no control that you can take. Don't feel like it's just that something happened to you, or this is just the situation that you can't change. You can. And when you will decide today, no more of that, I will really put myself, I will really try not to feel like this way anymore. You will see the difference. You will see the shift. You will see the difference. Maybe not like this, but after some time you will. But the thing is, just don't give up, okay? Don't give up on yourself, because you do deserve to be happy like everybody else. There's no difference. You are worthy, you are amazing. So please don't feel like you have to be lonely. This is not how we, human beings are not made to be lonely. So be with that. Stay with it. Connect. Maybe the first step will be just to connect with yourself, to get to know what you want, or get to know what would be your dream, relationship like. Just maybe start somewhere. Start from within yourself, just to connect with yourself, okay? Okay, so I hope you really I somehow answered your question. I hope the topic was covered. I did help you somehow with covering this topic. I didn't do the live yesterday because I had a surprise for you, which is not ready yet. I had such a good podcast, and it was recorded with, I actually have the name, it was Mark O'Cormack, and his podcast name is the Clockwork Junkie Podcast. That's the name of the podcast. I really recommend you to go and search him in YouTube. Amazing channel, and he does a really amazing job of connect people, and the people are then just telling their own story, and it's just so nice, Of course, as a psychotherapist, I was talking about mental health, and not only. We were talking like, I was sitting with him for the 2 hours, so we did cover really a lot, and it was so good. He's an amazing guy. So if you would like to check him out, please do, because he has some good content, very valuable content. So yes, and I think that's me for today. And if anything that I said today resonated with you, you can contact me and stay connected with so many different ways. So, I work one-to-one as a psychotherapist. I also, I wrote 2 books. So if you would like to somehow get to know me from that side, and it's not about me, it's about happiness, it's about, those 2 books. It's just me helping you really, help you to get the life you really deserve. So Grow Into Your Happiness and The Secret Codes to Happiness, both books are available on my website or on Amazon, and my website is www.psychotherapykuchena.com. I also have Masterclass, the Fearless Soul Masterclass, for sale. So this is a 5-day masterclass where I'm teaching you how to become fearless, how to chase your dreams, how to change your life, how to really change the self-concept, so how you really perceive yourself, and that, old blockages, old beliefs about yourself, unhealthy beliefs about what you can and can't do. I'm helping you shift that, so you can really see yourself through the lenses of really worthiness, happiness, and that will get you to feel at peace with who you are, where you are, and then that will help you then change whatever you need to change. And something much deeper that I also have created is the Dream Life Academy, when there's a 4-month really close work with me. It's like one-to-one. Then we have a private group on Facebook where there are like posts from the groups, but also I will go live with you, for all of you once a week. Guiding you how to create the dream life that you dream of and what you want, and I'm going to help you get what you want. You can read about all of this on my website. Again, I will pin the link to my website so you can really take a look at it. And if you have any questions, also you can always message me directly, and I'm more happy than to answer those. So for today, thank you so much. Next topic on Friday, we'll see what you will want me to talk about, but definitely stay tuned and see you very, very soon. Lots of love and have a lovely day, everyone.